Nearly 600 Rohingya refugees have arrived in Indonesia's Aceh province in the past week. All arrived by boat from Bangladesh. You'll remember Bangladesh is hosting up to 1 million Rohingya refugees in camps after they fled persecution under the military junta in Myanmar. The refugees have made dangerous sea journeys over the past few years to escape dangerous overcrowding in camps and in search of opportunities in countries like Malaysia, Thailand and Indonesia. Here's more on the recent arrivals in Aceh in Indonesia.
Hundreds of Rohingya refugees arrive on a beach in Indonesia. They've been traveling for weeks across the sea in decrepit wooden boats that put their lives in danger.
I don't remember anything about how long and what it was like.
Why is that?
I was seasick, so I don't know anything.
I started my trip on 26 October on the boat, and there are 240 people with me in the boat. I can save my life, but there are so many babies and so many children in the boat. Please protect them.
There are nearly 600 refugees at Aceh beach in urgent need of food, water, shelter and medical help.
Informasi dari masyarakat tadi.
People in the community told us they saw a ship heading towards the land with a fairly high speed and thick smoke around 11:30 local time. When we came here, we saw they were Rohingya.
Dan ternyata yang mendarat adalah warga etnis Rohingya.
Almost 1 million Rohingyas have been living in refugee camps in Bangladesh after escaping military crackdown in Myanmar. Poor conditions in Bangladeshi camps have pushed them to flee to Indonesia, displacing them a second time in their lives.
I stayed there as a refugee. I feel very sad because my parents are in trouble in Bangladesh. Please protect us and please help us to go anywhere.
People from nearby villages are bringing food for the refugees, but they don't want refugees to get off the boat.
We simply do not have suitable accommodation for them. Based on past experiences, they indeed can be problematic. At times, they tend to wander off, and we are concerned that there could be undesirable incidents. It's not that we don't care about humanity.
This is the third boat to have arrived in Indonesia over the last days. Organizations monitoring the Rohingyas say more boats are on the way, and it is what they call the start of the sailing season.
And joining me now for more is DW Correspondent Sharon Sumolang, who's in Aceh, where some of the refugees arrived. Sharon, where are these refugees now, and are they being looked after?
Yes, Birash. So right now, I'm in PD, 2 hours from the city, Banda Aceh. Here behind me is the building where there are 500 refugees are staying. This is in fact the biggest shelter in Aceh. And 300 of them, more than 300 of them, are the refugees that have just arrived 2 days ago on Tuesday and also Wednesday on 2 different boats. So as you can see behind me, there are children, teenagers, men and women staying here, and the rest, like another 100 or so, they have been staying here for at least a year. And yes, after they arrived, people provide them with food, and also I'm looking right now at food truck where the local government also providing them food as an aid for the refugees that just arrived. And the UNHCR and IOM, International Organization for Migration, both of these organizations have been facilitating the refugees for their arrival.
Can you talk to us a bit about the condition that these refugees arrived in, given that they were on rickety boats that were at sea for many days?
Yeah, they came here in a weak and in dire nutrition. In fact, there are 4 people who are sick and got immediate medical assistance from the locals. And also, I just talked to one of the refugees, a woman that just arrived on the first boat. She came here with 3 of her children, and she just bring like very limited food on for their food on the sea, and they had to survive with a very limited food and also drink, and they were on the sea for like 14 days. So when I asked her, like, for example, do you know that you can actually like wait for God knows for how long, or like for years, until you can go to Malaysia, she just said like wherever it is, at least she can have a better safety and better future for their children.
Can you talk to us a bit also about how the locals are reacting to these refugees on boats that are arriving in Aceh?
Yeah, so we got an information that 3 hours from here in Biren, another regency in Aceh, the locals are rejecting the refugees, the Rohingya refugees, and they have been rejected twice actually, the third boat to land on the beach. Why? It's because the locals feel like they cannot assimilate well. They don't obey like the norms and also the cultures that have been implemented for years, and they feel like there has been like massive influx of refugees coming to Aceh, and they just don't expect it to be this many.
So what does that say about how Indonesia in general plans to handle these somewhat regular boat arrivals, given also that the foreign ministry has said that the country has no capacity to accommodate refugees?
Yeah, so not just not having the capacity, but Indonesia, in fact, is not part of the UN Refugee Convention. Indonesia hasn't ratified it, so Indonesia feels that they don't have the obligation to take the refugee in and to give the long-term or permanent solution for them. So there's been meeting sessions talking about refugees, not just Indonesia, but also with ASEAN countries that are involved, because yes, they're trying to go to Malaysia and Thailand too. So in the future, it will not only be on Indonesia's side how to handle this issue, but also with ASEAN countries that are involved. And one question remains is, what are the Rohingya refugees' future be?
We'll leave it there for the time being, but thanks so much for bringing us up to date on the situation in Aceh. DW correspondent Sharon Sumolang reporting from there. Thanks so much.